Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Who will Paul Pogba's next club be? Now Paul Pogba has had a long running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. He's been linked with a move to PSG. And there's been narratives of him possibly going back to Juventus. I think there's a good chance he will go back to Juventus. Paul Pogba did endure for good years with Juventus before he rejoined Manchester United, and there was narratives coming from the Italian press saying that Juventus offered us 4 players in exchange for Paul Pogba. So there is a good chance he'll leave in the summer. We have revealed our asking price. It's £100 million. Mini Oriola is desperate to get his client out of the football club in the summer. And he's been criticised a few times as Mini Oriola, and he doesn't have a good relationship with Manchester United. Mini Oriola recently admitted that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. He also came out and says he didn't want to cause problems for Paul Pogba. And he made an announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba, saying that his career at Man United is over. He said he's unhappy and he has to leave, and he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. Solskjaer was furious with Mini Oriola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has confirmed that Paul Pogba is stepping up his recovery and he's back in training, because Paul Pogba has been out with a thigh injury. Solskjaer confirmed prior to the game against Sociedad in the first leg that he's going to be out for the rest of February. So we're expecting Paul Pogba back in early March. Earlier on this season, he had an ankle injury, and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. Now, it said a few weeks ago that we held talks with Paul Pogba over his future, and Solskjaer came out and said that Paul Pogba's happy, and he suggested he could sign a new contract. Now, if we can't find a replacement for Pogba in the summer, then he could sign a new contract. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. But in recent months, Paul Pogba's done well. He's been enjoying the best period in his Man United career since he rejoined. It said in January that Pogba was considering making a U-turn at the club, and he contradicted his agent Mini Oriola for the second time. Earlier on this season, Matthias Pogba, who was Paul Pogba's brother, he came out and gave us an update on Paul Pogba's future, and he advised us to sell him in the summer if we are to get the money. He said he could leave for nothing next year, and he said he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. We paid £89 million for Paul Pogba, so he is our most expensive signing at the moment, and this is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. But he is a big miss, because you can say we lack quality in that midfield without Paul Pogba. I think a few players are going to leave Man United in the summer transfer window. There's a good chance that Juan Mata will leave in the summer. Solskjaer came out and recently said that he's not surprised that Juan Mata's linked to a move away from the club. There's 3 Italian clubs that are interested in him, and that's Inter Milan, Roma, and I think Juventus. Juan Mata's current contract expires in June, but we do have an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Juan Mata doesn't get in the team a lot now. but in the games he's played in this season, he's done well. Earlier on this season, he rejected an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. Matt has had a good career at Man United. He's been at the club over 6 years. He's made over 200 appearances in all competitions and he's scored 50 goals. We got Juan Mata in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. My element of concern about Mata, he's lost that yard of pace and he's now, 34 years of age. Phil Jones, I'm also expecting him to leave this year. I'm surprised he didn't leave in January, but Solskjaer came out and said that Phil Jones is going to be given a second chance. He's been out of injury for over the year. This is Phil Jones' 10th season at the club, so he has been a long servant. He's always been inconsistent. He's the only outfield player that's still here from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Sergio Romero, I'm also expecting us to offload him. There's a lot of United fans that are saying we need to sell Victor Lindelof in the summer because Victor Lindelof is a liability. Victor Lindelof's been at the club now over 3 years. We got him from Benfica in a deal worth £31 million. But Victor Lindelof doesn't go well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. I certainly prefer Eric Bailly, but Eric Bailly's too injury prone, so in that aspect he is a liability. But Bailly and Harry Maguire do complement each other very, very well in our back line. There's also been narratives of Axel Tuanzebe going out on loan. Anthony Martial, I think we should sell him in the summer. Whether we do or not, I do not know. Martial doesn't have a long-term future at Man United. Martial has been out of form for the vast majority of this season. He's had his chances, but he just hasn't converted them. But Solskjaer's actually backed Martial to rediscover his form. But Martial was good last season and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial has been at the club now over 5 years. Solskjaer was the one that gave him that number 9 shirt. Solskjaer recently said that he's prepared to sell either David De Gea or Dean Henderson in the summer. Now, Dean Henderson has threatened to quit Man United if he isn't assured the number 1 role. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer admitted that it's becoming more and more difficult to leave Dean Henderson out of the side. We've revealed our asking price for Henderson. It's £40 million. Sky Sports, which is a reliable source, recently said that Tottenham and Dortmund are leading the race. But Dean Henderson has done well in the games he's played in this season, and I think he's reliable enough now to become our number 1 because he has got that experience behind him. He endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield United, and before the start of this season, Dean Henderson signed a 6-year contract with Man United. And we could sell De Gea this summer, but De Gea is going to remain our number 1 for at least this season. It says we've been looking at Donnarumma from AC Milan as a possible replacement for De Gea. Now, Solskjaer's already warned De Gea that his number 1 jersey is under threat, and Paul Scholes recently came out and said that De Gea is becoming a real problem for Man United. Now, if it was to sell him in the summer, I think we can get from between £50 to £60 million. In the last couple of years, De Gea has made calamitous mistakes. Reflects on that, he's become a liability, but a few years ago, he was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. This is his 10th season at Manchester United, so he has been a long servant. and he's made over 500 appearances for the club in all competitions. But like I mentioned on my video yesterday, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer must sell to buy. This year's summer transfer window is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's biggest in his managerial career, because we do need to make more signings. A centre-back and a forward are the two priorities. Our transfer budget has been revealed. It's not what a lot of Man United fans expected. It said a few weeks ago that we are prepared to smash our transfer record in the summer, and Ed Woodward set to hand Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a huge war chest. But Solskjaer did recently confirm that he's got the backing of the owners to get the players he wants into the club. I'm expecting the board to back Solskjaer in the summer, because I don't think Solskjaer has been backed enough so far as Man United manager. Yeah, he has made good signings. He's spent over £200 million. He's brought Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. He also brought Bruno Fernandes in and Odion Igalo in on loan. And he also brought Donny van der Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Facundo Pellistri in. And he also brought Amad Diallo Traore in. But obviously he hasn't got all the players that I wanted to recommend in as yet. And Woodward has come out several times to show his support for Ole, and he did say towards the end of last year that he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. We've criticised the board a lot for a long time now, because the board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years, reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players, and none of the managers have been backed enough since Ferguson retired. Mistakes have been made in the last, 7.5, 8 years, and that's one of the main explanations why we have been so inconsistent. Solskjaer has endured 4 transfer windows so far as permanent Man United manager. Now, the news on Erling Haaland. Solskjaer did say in his press conference building up to the game against Sociedad that he's keeping in touch with Erling Haaland, and he praised Erling Haaland. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would love to sign Erling Haaland. It would be good to see Solskjaer reunite with the player. Solskjaer was the one that gave Erling Haaland his debut at just the age of 16 at Molde. And back in December 2019, Solskjaer and Woodward went up to Norway to meet up with Erling Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. Now, Sky Sports recently said that Borussia Dortmund will let Haaland leave for £78 million this summer. But his agent, Minio Raiola, said that there's only 4 Premier League clubs that can afford him. So we face a potential transfer battle for Erling Haaland. Next year, he has a £68 million release clause that becomes active, but he could be leaving Dortmund this summer. So probably that won't become active then. But since his arrival at Dortmund, he has been a revelation. He's scored a lot of goals. He's been at Dortmund over the year. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him, and he's got a contract with Dortmund until 2024. And Solskjaer said earlier on this season that he's following Erling Haaland's progress. Now, Sports Build recently said that we are still very, very interested in Jaden Sanchez. The Athletic, though, recently said that we've paused our transfer pursuit of Sanchez due to Mason Greenwood. We know that Sanchez is going to be available for a reduced fee this summer. The other week, £60 million was quoted. It said we believe we can get him for just £50 million, which is a bargain. Dortmund said they'll only sell Sancho this summer on one condition, and that's if they can keep Haaland. So what they're saying is they don't want to sell both players this summer. But Dortmund do face a summer of transfer exits. Narratives came out the other week saying that Dortmund could sell up to 8 players in the summer to raise funds. And Bild said earlier on this season that Dortmund reduced their asking price for Sancho to £88 million. So they're not 20 million off, because last summer Dortmund's valuation was £108 million and we was reluctant to meet that valuation. Last summer though, it said a few times that the personal terms had been agreed and the agent fees had been agreed and even a contract had been agreed. But the actual fee was the stumbling block. Fabrizio Romano has spoken a lot about the Jaden Sanchez transfer saga, and so too has Bild's Christian Fark. But Dortmund made it clear to us last summer that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. We obviously missed out on that deadline, so Sancho remained at Dortmund. Sancho made an admission earlier on this season saying that he has enjoyed a difficult season at Dortmund. Dortmund have been poor this season, but analysing the vast majority of Sancho's career, he's been very consistent. This is his 4th season now at Dortmund. He's got a contract with Dortmund until 2023. Dortmund paid just £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. Don't forget, we was willing to offer him that number 7 shirt. Now, you know the news on Jules Koundé. It's recently said that we are refusing to meet Jules Koundé's £68 million release clause, but we still remain interested. Now, La Razón, which is a Spanish outlet, they said not so long ago that we are considered the favourites to sign Jules Koundé. He's our top target for the summer, and it says we are prepared to pay £61 million for him. Jules Koundé's performances for Sevilla have been very, very good this season. He's played 70-odd games. He's got a contract with them until 2024, and Sevilla paid £22 million for him from Bordeaux in the summer of 2019. We definitely need a centre-half, and it recently said that Solskjaer has got a 4-man centre-back shortlist. But yeah, there's good players at Manchester United, and there's players that are really, really improving. You know, like I've said, Dean Henderson, he's done well in the games he's played in this season. De Gea's done well in some games this season. And Wan-Bissaka, he's done well in some games this season, where he's got forward well, he's got into good positions, he's put good crosses into the box, and defensively he's been superb. This is Wan-Bissaka's 2nd full season at Manchester United. We got Wan-Bissaka in a deal worth £50 million from Palace in the summer of 2019. Luke Shaw, he's really, really improved. Luke Shaw still remains our first choice left back, despite the arrival of Alex Telles last summer. But Luke Shaw, he gets forward well, he gets into good positions, he creates chances for his teammates, his crossing's good, and defensively he's been good. Luke Shaw's had a good career at Manchester United, apart from his injuries. He's been at the club now over 6 years. Eric Bailly, you know, I've been impressed with him in the games he's played in this season. Harry Maguire, he's enjoyed some good games this season, but he's also enjoyed bad games as well. Harry Maguire certainly wasn't worth the £80 million that we got him for. Harry Maguire is the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment, and the 2nd most expensive signing at the club. You know, like I said, Paul Pogba, he's done very, very well in recent months. Fred, he's really, really improving. He's getting forward well. He's Fred. His passing's getting better. And he breaks up the play well. Fred's been at the club now a few years. We got Fred in a deal worth £52 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. And I've got to say, Fred was a world-class player during his time in Ukraine. Scott McTominay, he's enjoyed good games this season. Was it just after the first lockdown he signed a 5-year contract with Man United, McTominay. And he's been part of the club for several years. He's got a lot of development in him. Bruno Fernandes, he's an exceptional player. He's made a difference in this team as Bruno Fernandes. He's our best player and he's the best signing we have made since Ferguson. In most of Bruno Fernandes' games at Manchester United, he's been very, very consistent. There's been a few games though where he has looked off the pace. At some point Fernandes needs a rest because we have overplayed him, but earlier on this season he denies that he needs a rest because he wants to help the club win trophies. Now, Fernandes said on his 12-month anniversary that he's planning on spending many years at Man United, and Fernandes has won Player of the Month quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. There was narratives coming out earlier on this season saying that we were 3 months into contract talks with Fernandes. His current contract expires in 2025. There's an option to extend for a further year. We initially paid £47 million for Bruno Fernandes, but the overall cost with add-ons is just over £67 million. And he predominantly plays as number 10. I think Donny van der Beek is good when he plays. Van der Beek has played nowhere near as much as I expected. Most of his appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the leagues this season. Solskjaer made an admission earlier on this season saying that Van der Beek is unhappy at the club because of his lack of game time, but he also promised him more game time at Man United. At the moment, Van der Beek is out with a muscle injury and he's not going to be playing any part tonight. We got Van der Beek in a deal worth £40 million. We paid £35 million up front and there was £5 million in add-ons. And Van der Beek's got a contract with the club until 2025 and he can play in 3 different roles. Mason Greenwood, he's done very, very well since he broke into our first team squad. Greenwood made his debut back in 2019. He's been at United since the age of 7 and he's made 80-odd first team appearances. Greenwood's done well recently despite scoring. Mason Greenwood recently signed a new 4-year contract with Manchester United. Ollie's been defending him a lot this season. Earlier on this season, didn't really have much of a perception on Mason Greenwood because obviously at one point he had injury, at one point he had illness, and at one point he had personal issues. And at the start of this season, we give him that number 11 shirt. Marcus Rashford, I've been very, very impressed with him. He's enjoyed good games. He's also enjoyed some rough patches as well. I just think we need to keep Marcus Rashford out wide because that's where he's more effective on that left-hand side because he's much better on the left than he is on the right. Marcus Rashford has been part of the club for several years. I think we've overplayed him, so I think he does need a rest. Edison Cavani, he's made a fantastic impact since he's come in. Cavani holds up the play well. His movement in and out of the box is good. He creates chances and he scores goals. Cavani's not going to be playing tonight. He's out with injury. He's missed our last 2 games. Solskjaer recently said that Cavani is set for contract extension talks. Cavani wants to stay at Man United beyond this season, so I presume will trigger that 1-year extension on his current contract. We got Cavani on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a 2nd year. And Amad Traore, He made his first team debut in the first leg against Sociedad. He came on. I think he's going to be involved tonight. I said Untitled Chapter will be good assets for the first team because he'd been doing very well for the under-23s. And Shortire, I think he's also going to be involved tonight. I don't think they will start though. And I do like the way that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has promoted the youth. But yeah, it would make sense to rest key players tonight because we've got a big game on Sunday against Chelsea. So it probably makes sense to rest Rashford, rest Fernandes. You know, yeah, it would make sense, you know, rest Luke Shaw, he's another one. But like I say, I am Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in. I don't know if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a long-term manager for Man United. Time will tell. You know, this is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's second full season at the club. He's going to be given at least another season at Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer must win a trophy as Manchester United manager to avoid the sack. We haven't won a trophy since 2017 and the club of our stature need to be winning trophies. Now obviously the Europa League is a chance of a trophy and the FA Cup is a chance of a trophy. Solskjaer came out after our 3-1 win against Newcastle and said that we are still in the title race despite the 10-point gap. He said the exact same thing after the 1-1 draw with West Brom, that we are still in the title race and will not settle for second in the title race. But I've totally disregarded the title and so too the vast majority of Man United fans. Our aim is the top 4 and I can almost assure we'll finish in the top 4. I think we'll win another title at some point, maybe next season, maybe next couple of seasons. It all depends on how we recruit. But we haven't won the Premier League since 2013, so we haven't won it now for like 8 years. But I think Solskjaer's made very, very good progress at Man United in the last year or so. You know, there's been some games where he's got the best out of the team. Performances have improved in recent months. Like I've said, certain players are improving. We've got a fantastic away record in the Premier League. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. I think we're unbeaten in our last 9 away games in all competitions. You know, Solskjaer's got us to the last 16 of the Europa League. He's got us to the FA Cup quarter-finals. It will be a tough game against Leicester. You know, he got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season, lost to City. Ole did well last season in his first full season at the club. Got us qualification for the Champions League, got us third and he guided us to 3 semi-finals. We also went on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions last season. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been criticised a lot as Manchester United manager because, you know, we have enjoyed really bad periods under him. Prior to the win against Newcastle was enjoying a bit of a bad period because we'd only won 1 of our last 5 in the league. So it's good that we got back to winning ways in the league against Newcastle. Wasn't the best of performances but still got the win. We was poor at the first part of last season. And we was poor earlier on this season. Was poor the first part of last season because we enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. So in a way, we do deserve credit for sticking with Solskjaer. But like I've said, our board have got a soft stance on Solskjaer with him being a club legend. I've told you one of my biggest concerns about Ole, and that's his decision making. You know, his decision making has to be good persistently because there has been some games where he has showed tactical flexibility. You know, Solskjaer has been Man United manager now over 2 years. So reflecting now on his being at the club, he has gained some managerial experience and he's learnt quite a bit on the job. He hasn't got that proven pedigree as a manager. Before he came to us, he was at Mulder, and before Mulder, he was at Cardiff, and his record at Cardiff was absolutely disastrous. I'm expecting Solskjaer to sign a new contract at the end of the season. Solskjaer is into the final 18 months of his current contract. But he recently said that Solskjaer's future is in doubt because he admitted that nobody spoke to him yet over a new contract. But he said we could offer him a new 2-year deal at the end of this season if we qualify for the Champions League. And to Ollie's credit as well, he's got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in. We saw a few players leaving the January transfer window, didn't we? But like I said, in regards to the January transfer window, it was disappointing in terms of incomings because we only saw one arrival, and that was Amad Diallo Traore. But Solskjaer did say a few times during the January transfer window that he wasn't expecting any signings. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.